Stop. Do not spend your pennies yet. Some wheat pennies are worth more than a luxury car, and a few have sold for over $300,000. Number 3. The 1909 SVB wheat penny. Most people will never see one in their lifetime. With extremely low mintage and the famous VDB initials, collectors will pay insane money for this penny in high condition. Number 2 will shock you. The 1943 bronze wheat penny. This coin was never supposed to exist. A mint mistake turned a 1-cent coin into a 6-figure treasure, and people have literally found these in old collections. And number 1 is almost unbelievable. The 1944 steel wheat penny. One wrong metal, one tiny mistake. And this penny became one of the rarest U.S. coins on Earth, selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Check your pockets. Check your jars. Check old coins right now. One of these valuable wheat pennies could change your life. Follow for more rare coin alerts. Coin number 1, stop for a second and imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a penny that looks completely different from every other one you've ever seen. It's silver in color, lightweight, and instantly feels unusual. That penny could be a 1943 wheat penny from the United States, one of the most fascinating and historically important 1-cent coins ever produced. This single year completely changed the look, feel, and story of the Lincoln wheat cent. And even today, collectors and everyday people still search their change, hoping to find one with a hidden surprise. The 1943 wheat penny was minted during World War II, a time when the United States was facing extreme shortages of critical metals. Copper was desperately needed for ammunition, electrical wiring, and military equipment. So the U.S. Mint made a bold decision that had never been attempted before for circulating cents. Instead of using copper, pennies in 1943 were struck on steel planchets coated with zinc, giving them their iconic silver-gray appearance. This decision instantly made the 1943 wheat penny one of the most recognizable coins in American history. The Denver Mint produced a 1943 wheat penny, identified by the small d mint mark located below the date on the obverse side of coin. While millions were struck, the Denver issues are especially interesting because they show a wide range of striking quality, die variations, and production quirks caused by the rush of wartime manufacturing. These conditions created opportunities for rare errors, which are the real reason this coin remains so heavily searched today. On the front of the coin, you'll see Abraham Lincoln's portrait, a design that had already been in use since 1909. His calm but strong profile symbolized unity and resilience, which was especially meaningful during wartime America. The word liberty appears to the left, the date 1943 is on the right, and directly beneath the date is the Denver Mint mark. On the reverse, 2 wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the phrase E pluribus unum. This classic wheat design was used until 1958 and remains one of the most beloved coin designs ever created. What makes the 1943 wheat penny truly special is its composition. Unlike most pennies that are copper or copper-based, this coin is made from steel with a thin zinc coating. Because of this, it sticks to a magnet, something no other regular U.S. penny does. That simple test has become one of the easiest ways to identify a genuine 1943 steel cent. However, this unique composition also made the coin vulnerable to corrosion, rust, and surface wear, which is why well-preserved examples are harder to find today. Many people believe all 1943 pennies are extremely valuable, but the truth is more nuanced. Standard 1943 steel pennies are common, but condition plays a major role in value. Coins that still show strong detail, clean surfaces, and original zinc coating can be worth significantly more than heavily worn examples. But where things get truly exciting is in the world of errors and rare variations. One of the most famous and valuable errors associated with the 1943 wheat penny is the accidental striking on copper planchets. A very small number of pennies were mistakenly struck using leftover copper blanks from 1942. These copper 1943 pennies are among the rarest and most valuable U.S. coins ever discovered, and while most known examples came from other mints, the possibility of an undiscovered Denver example keeps collectors searching. If you ever find a 1943 penny that is copper-colored and does not stick to a magnet, it should never be spent or ignored. Another highly sought-after variety involves double die errors. These occur when the die used to strike the coin receive a misaligned impression during its creation. On a double die 1943D wheat penny, you may notice doubling on the date the word Liberty or parts of Lincoln's portrait. This doubling is not damage or wear but part of the original strike, and it can dramatically increase the coin's desirability. Off-center strikes are another error collectors watch for. These coins were struck when the planchet was not properly aligned in the press, resulting in part of the design missing or shifted. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still showing the date and mint mark, the more attention it receives from collectors. You may also encounter clipped planchets on 1943D wheat pennies. These occur when the metal strip was improperly cut, leaving a curved or straight section missing from the coin. Because steel cents were produced so quickly during wartime, these types of errors are more common than many people realize, yet still valuable when clearly defined. Die cracks, lamination errors, and zinc coating issues are also commonly searched varieties. Over time, the steel core can show through the zinc coating peels or bubbles. While some collectors prefer fully intact examples, others actively seek dramatic coating errors because they tell the story of the coin's challenging production process. Another reason the 1943D wheat penny remains so popular is its strong connection to American history. Every one of these coins circulated during a time when families were rationing food, factories were running around the clock, and soldiers were fighting overseas. Holding one feels like holding a small piece of that era. It's not just a coin, it's a witness to history. Despite their age, many 1943 steel pennies were saved as curiosities because they look so different from regular copper cents. This means millions still exist today, but most show signs of wear, scratches, or corrosion. Clean examples with sharp details stand out immediately, which is why condition remains so important when evaluating one. If you're searching for a 1943D wheat penny, always examine it carefully. Check for the D mint mark. Test it with a magnet. Look closely at the date and lettering for doubling, and inspect the surface for unusual textures or missing details. Never clean the coin, as cleaning can permanently damage its surface and reduce its collector appeal. Many people first discover a 1943 steel penny in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers. That moment of discovery often sparks a deeper interest in coin collecting, and for good reason. This coin serves as a gateway into understanding mint marks, errors, varieties, and historical context, all through a single penny. Online searches for 1943D wheat penny value, 1943 steel penny errors, and rare 1943 penny continue to grow every year. This tells us one thing clearly. People are still hunting for something special. Even though the standard version is widely available, the possibility of finding a rare error or exceptional example keeps the excitement alive. The 1943D wheat penny also teaches an important lesson about numismatics. Not every old coin is rare, but every old coin has a story. Some are valuable because of rarity, others because of condition, and some because of historical importance. This penny combines all three elements in a way few coins do. As time passes, more of these coins are lost corrosion, damage, or being discarded by people who don't recognize them. That gradual loss means surviving examples become more significant with each passing decade. What seems common today may not be so common tomorrow, especially for coins that were never meant to last as under pressure, a nation adapting during war, and the unexpected value that can hide in the smallest denomination of U.S. currency. Coin number 2, stop for a moment and think about how many pennies you've handled in your life without ever looking twice at them. Now imagine that one of those ordinary-looking copper coins could quietly carry history, collector demand, and hidden value. The 1951D Lincoln Wheat Penny from the United States is exactly that kind of coin. At first glance, it looks like just another wheat cent. But once you understand its background, minting details, and collectible varieties, it becomes clear why this coin is still searched, studied, and saved by collectors today. The 1951D wheat penny was produced at the Denver Mint during a time when the United States was transitioning from wartime recovery into a new era of economic growth. Unlike the steel cents of 1943, this penny returned to a copper-based composition, restoring the familiar color and weight that people recognized. By 1951, the Lincoln wheat cent had already been in circulation for more than 4 decades, and it had become one of the most trusted and widely used coins in the country. On the obverse side of the coin, Abraham Lincoln's portrait faces to the right, symbolizing stability and continuity in post-war America. The word liberty appears to the left. The date, 1951, is positioned on the right, and just below the date you'll find the D Mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint. The reverse displays the iconic wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the motto E Pluribus Unum. This wheat design would remain in use for only a few more years before being replaced, making every late-date wheat penny historically important. Millions of 1951 D wheat pennies were produced, which means the coin is not rare in general circulation. However, availability does not equal lack of interest. Collectors pay close attention to condition, strike quality, and surface preservation, especially for Denver minted examples. Many coins from this era were heavily circulated, and finding one with sharp detail, full wheat lines, and clean surfaces is far more difficult than it sounds. The copper alloy used in the 1951 D wheat penny gives a warm, reddish-brown tone when well preserved. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling causes the color to darken. Coins that retain original luster and minimal wear stand out immediately to collectors. Even small differences in surface quality can make a noticeable difference in desirability. What truly keeps interest high in the 1951 D wheat penny are the errors and varieties that occurred during production. The Denver Mint was operating at high capacity, and minor mistakes were inevitable. One of the most searched for varieties involves double die errors. These can show up as noticeable doubling on the date, the word liberty, or even parts of Lincoln's portrait. True doubling is part of the original strike and appears raised, not flat or smeared. Another variety collectors examine closely is repunched mint marks. In 1951, mint marks were applied to the dies by hand, which sometimes resulted in a mint mark being punched more than once. On a repunched D mint mark, you may see a shadow or secondary outline around the letter. These subtle details are easy to miss, but can significantly increase collector interest. Off-center strikes are also found among 1951 D wheat pennies. These occur when the coin blank was not properly aligned during striking, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible, the more attention it receives from collectors. Die cracks and die breaks are another area of interest. As dies age and cracked, metal would flow into these imperfections, creating raised lines or blobs on a finished coin. These features are not damage but evidence of the minting process itself, and some collectors specifically seek out dramatic examples. Clipped planchets are less common but still possible. These coins show a portion missing from the edge due to a cutting error during blank preparation. When clearly defined, clipped planchets from the early 1950s are highly collectible. Because the 1951 D wheat penny is copper-based, it does not stick to a magnet. This simple test can help distinguish it from earlier steel cents, especially for new collectors. Weight and sound can also help identify authenticity, as genuine examples have a solid feel when gently tapped. Many people discover 1951 D wheat pennies in old jars, inherited collections, or mixed rolls of cents. Often they were saved by previous generations who recognized the wheat design as something special. Each coin carries the marks of its journey through decades of commerce, from grocery stores to gas stations to bank counters. Search interest for terms like 1951 D wheat penny value, 1951 D penny error, and rare 1951 wheat cent continues to remain strong. This reflects the enduring popularity of wheat pennies as a whole and the specific curiosity surrounding Denver Mint issues. One reason wheat pennies remain so appealing is their balance between accessibility and depth. You don't need to find a $1 million rarity to enjoy collecting them. Learning to spot subtle differences, understanding historical context, and appreciating condition can make even a common date feel rewarding. It's important to handle a 1951 D wheat penny carefully. Oils from your fingers can affect the surface over time, and cleaning should always be avoided. Cleaning removes original surfaces and can permanently reduce collector interest, even if the coin looks brighter afterward. The 1951 D wheat penny also represents the closing chapter of an era. Just a few years later, the the wheat reverse would be retired, ending a design that had lasted nearly 50 years. That makes late-date wheat cents especially meaningful, as they mark the final years of a classic American coin. Collectors today continue to build complete wheat penny sets, and the 1951D is a key piece for anyone assembling a full Denver Mint run. While it may not be the rarest coin in the series, it plays an essential role in telling the story of U.S. coinage. As time passes, fewer well-preserved examples remain. Circulation, damage, and neglect slowly reduce the number of attractive survivors. This gradual decline adds long-term interest and keeps collectors searching through rolls and collections. So the next time you come across a 1951D wheat penny, don't overlook it. Take a closer look at the mint mark, the lettering, and the overall condition. What appears ordinary at first glance may have something unusual hiding in plain sight. In the world of coin collecting, knowledge is what turns spare change into opportunity. The 1951D wheat penny is a perfect example of how history, craftsmanship, and curiosity come together in a single cent. Sometimes, the most interesting treasures aren't flashy or rare at first sight. They're the ones that reward those who take the time to look closer. Coin number 3, and we will explore. Stop for a second and think about this. A simple 1-cent coin from 1956 could be sitting unnoticed in a drawer, a jar, or an old wallet, and most people would never give a second look. But collectors know better, because the 1956 wheat penny is one of those classic American coins that carries history, value, and surprising collector interest all in one small piece of copper. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the 1956 1-cent wheat penny from the United States, exploring its background, design, minting details, errors, condition rarity, and why this coin still matters so much in the world of coin collecting. The Wheat Penny series is one of the most loved and recognized coin designs in American history. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln wheat cent was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. By the time 1956 rolled around, the wheat penny had already been in circulation for nearly half a century, and it was approaching the end of its legendary run, which would conclude just 2 years later in 1958. The 1956 wheat penny features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's profile faces to the right, with the word liberty to the left and the date 1956 to the right. Above Lincoln's head is a familiar phrase, "In God we trust," which had become a permanent part of U.S. coinage earlier in the century. This design had become instantly recognizable to millions of Americans by the mid-1950s, making the 1956 penny a true symbol of everyday life in the United States during that era. On the reverse, the coin displays a classic wheat ears design, with 2 stylized wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States America. At the top of the reverse, the motto E Pluribus Unum ties together the idea of unity that has always been central to American coinage. This reverse design is the reason collectors often refer to these coins simply as wheat pennies or wheat cents. The 1956 wheat penny was struck in large numbers, which makes a common date overall. But that doesn't mean it lacks collector value or interest. In fact, the very abundance of these coins means many collectors use the 1956 wheat penny as a benchmark for studying condition, strike quality, and subtle variations. Coins from this year were produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint struck 1956 wheat pennies without a mint mark. These coins were produced in massive quantities, serving the everyday commerce needs of the country. Because of the high mintage, most 1956 pennies found today are from Philadelphia. However, high-grade examples with strong detail and original red color are much harder to find than most people expect. The Denver Mint produced 1956 D wheat pennies, which can be identified by the small d mint mark below the date on the obverse. Denver cent from this year are especially popular among collectors because they often show sharper strikes than their Philadelphia counterparts. Even though millions were made, finding a 1956 D wheat penny in pristine condition can significantly increase its desirability and value. The San Francisco Mint struck the 1956 S wheat penny, identified by the S mint mark below the date. These coins tend to have slightly lower mintages compared to Philadelphia and Denver, making them appealing to collectors building complete wheat penny sets. While still considered common in circulated condition, higher grade 1956 S cents are noticeably scarcer. One of the most important factors that determines the value of a 1956 wheat penny is its condition. Collectors typically classify these coins as brown, red brown, or full red, depending on how much original copper luster remains. Most 1956 wheat pennies found today are brown due to decades of circulation and exposure. Red-brown examples show a mix of original color and toning, while full red coins have retained most of their original mint luster. Full red 1956 wheat pennies are where collector excitement really starts to build. These coins were often pulled from circulation early or stored carefully for decades. In higher mint state grades, especially those certified by professional grading services, full red examples can be worth many times more than face value. The difference between a brown penny and a bright red one from the same year can be dramatic. Errors and varieties also play a big role in the appeal of the 1956 wheat penny. While no major double-die varieties are widely known for this year, collectors actively search for mint errors, such as off-center strikes, clip planchets, die cracks, and repunched mint marks. These errors add a layer of uniqueness to an otherwise common coin, and they can significantly increase value depending on their visibility and condition. Another interesting aspect of the 1956 wheat penny is its metal composition. Like most wheat cents produced before 1982, the 1956 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This gives the coin a solid feel and a rich color that many collectors prefer over modern zinc-based pennies. The rising interest in copper content has also contributed to the continued popularity of pre-1982 Lincoln cents. Historically, the year 1956 was a fascinating time in the United States. The country was in the middle of the post-World War II economic boom, with expanding suburbs, growing industries, and major cultural changes. The 1956 wheat penny circulated during a time when cash transactions were common, and nearly every American would have handled coins like this on a daily basis. Holding a 1956 wheat penny today is like holding a small piece of mid-20th century American life. As the Wheat Penny series approached its final years, the U.S. Mint was already preparing for a major design change. In 1959, the wheat ears reverse would be replaced with a Lincoln Memorial design, marking a new era in American coinage. Because of this, late-date wheat pennies like the 1956 cent have a special place in collections, representing the closing chapter of a classic design. Collectors today often include the 1956 wheat penny in beginner collections, advanced Lincoln cent sets, and even specialized era collections. It's a coin that offers something for everyone, from casual collectors to serious numismatists. Its affordability in lower grades makes it accessible, while its potential value in high grades keeps experienced collectors interested. If you're searching through old coins or inherited collections, the 1956 wheat penny is absolutely worth a closer look. Pay attention to the mint mark, the overall condition, and the color of the coin. Even small differences can have a big impact on collector demand. Coins that appear ordinary at first glance can sometimes turn out to be surprisingly desirable. The enduring appeal of the 1956 1-cent wheat penny comes from its balance of history, design, and collectability. It's not just about rarity or high value, but about the story the coin tells. From hands that once spent it to collectors who preserve it today, this penny continues to connect generations. So the next time you come across a wheat penny dated 1956, don't dismiss it as just another old coin. Take a moment to examine it closely, because within that small copper disc is a piece of American history, a symbol of everyday change. Make sure to stay curious, keep checking your coins, and continue exploring the fascinating world of American numismatics.